The 5 dirhams that became gold. I still remember the day my life changed, though at the time it felt like everything was falling apart. For years I worked as a shepherd for a wealthy landowner. Every morning I stepped out under the endless sky, guiding his flock across dry fields and quiet hills. The work was simple, but it was honest. And every evening I returned home with 5 dirhams in my hand, small coins earned with clean effort. It wasn't much, but it was enough for me to sleep with a quiet heart. Then, one day, everything shifted. The landowner called me aside. His voice was calm, but final. He told me he was selling his flock and leaving the region. My work, just like that, was over. Before I could even process it, he placed a heavy pouch in front of me. I didn't need to open it to know it was filled with coins, far more than I had ever held in my life. "This is for you," he said, "for your years of service." For a moment, I said nothing. I looked at the pouch, then at my hands. These hands had only ever earned 5 dirhams a day, no more, no less. Something inside me refused to move. "I cannot take this," I said quietly. He frowned, thinking I misunderstood. "It's a gift." But I shook my head. My work was worth 5 dirhams a day, nothing more. He insisted again. I refused again. And just like that, I walked away, with only my final 5 dirhams. That night, my wife looked at me as if I had lost my mind. "You turned down all that money?" she asked, her voice trembling between fear and disbelief. "What will we do now?" I had no answer, only a quiet certainty deep inside me, a feeling that I had done what was right, even if it cost me everything. Days passed, no work came. The small food we had began to disappear. Hunger crept closer, step by step, like a shadow that refused to leave. At night, I could hear my wife's silence more loudly than any words. Desperation began to whisper. In our village, there was a merchant, a man who traveled far across lands, buying goods for people and returning with things they could never find themselves. With nothing left but my last 5 dirhams, I went to him. I placed the coins in his hand. "Take this," I said. "Bring me back whatever you can." He looked at the money, then at me, and laughed. "5 dirhams," he said. "What do you expect me to buy?" "Air." "Anything," I replied. "Just don't return it to me unchanged." He shrugged, clearly amused, and joined the others, men who had given him much larger sums, expecting fine goods in return. Then he left. The days that followed felt longer than ever before. Every morning, I woke up wondering if I had made another mistake. Every night, I went to sleep with the same question. Weeks passed before the merchant finally returned. The whole village gathered as he began handing out goods, silks, spices, tools, each one matching the wealth invested. I stood at the edge of the crowd, unsure of what to expect. When he reached me, a small smirk crossed his face. "I found nothing for you," he said, "until the very end." My heart sank. Then he revealed it. A large, lazy cat. For a moment, I didn't know whether to laugh or feel insulted. This was what my last 5 dirhams had become. But before I could react, he raised his hand. "I'm not finished," he said. The crowd grew quiet. "On my way back," he continued, "I passed through a village in chaos. Mice were everywhere, destroying crops, ruining food, taking over homes. They had no solution, and no cats. Something inside me shifted. When they saw this one," he said, nodding toward the animal, "they begged me to sell it. Then they argued over who would get it." I felt my breath slow. In the end, he paused, watching me carefully. They paid its weight in gold. For a moment, the world around me disappeared. Gold. The word echoed in my mind, too large to understand. The crowd murmured in disbelief, but I couldn't hear them clearly. I was still trying to grasp what he had just said. The merchant stepped closer, his expression no longer amused, but thoughtful. "Tell me," he said quietly, "where did your 5 dirhams come from?" So I told him. I told him about the landowner, the heavy pouch of money, and how I had refused it. I told him how I walked away with only what I had truly earned. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he nodded slowly. "I thought there must be something behind this," he said. "This is not ordinary profit." Then, without another word, he placed a heavy bundle in front of me. "I was only the messenger," he said. "This belongs to you." My hands trembled as I reached for it. Just days ago, those same hands held only 5 small coins. Now, they held gold, real gold. That night, my wife cried again, but not from fear this time, from relief, from disbelief, from gratitude. And as I sat there, holding what I could never have imagined, I finally understood something I had only believed before. Honesty has a weight, a value that cannot always be seen, but is always there. And sometimes, by a grace we do not control, it becomes something greater than we ever expected. From that day on, I was no longer just a shepherd. I became a trader. But I never forgot the lesson that built everything I had, because in the end, it was never about the gold. It was about the choice I made when I had the chance to take what wasn't truly mine. And that choice gave me something far more valuable than wealth. A principle I carry with me to this day: better a small, honest earning than a fortune that was never truly yours.